What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is a big one. I'm going to fire through because I have made some big purchases and a lot of purchases over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, since the roadmap has come out, people are reorganizing, they're adapting to the changes, and they're making sure that they're set up for, especially when the new kind of format kicks off. And that's exactly what I've been doing. Now, I'm not finished, but we're halfway there. We are halfway there. So let's get started. This is where it all started, okay? This sale here. Now, I picked up... What's unfortunate is that I didn't actually get to play or put Steve Clark or Johnny Russell into a lineup, which was gutting, really, because I do think that they're going to have good seasons. I think that they're really good super rares to have. But I had a stream a couple of days ago, or probably a week ago or so now, and I never really planned on selling these. And then I was talking to the guys that was on the stream and was talking about strategies and where I should be going. And I kind of made the decision to come out of super rares and to strengthen into rare. So, Gaza over here, who I talk to kind of regularly about the game, he's a really good player of the game, but he was interested in these two cards, and I managed to pick up half an ETH for them. So I did lose a little bit of money, probably a couple of £100 on them since I picked them up, but I needed the ETH in to be able to restock the club and making sure that I'm set up. So I sold those two guys. Then I also sold Anthony Morris, which really, come to think of it, I mean, what did I sell him for? 0.09. I thought he was better than he was. I always thought in my mind that, he's a really solid goalkeeper. Maybe I'm thinking about like these scores over here. But this season, even though the USG are top of the league and they are doing really well, they're through in Europe now as well to the next round. His scores have not been great, so that's where I've really been putting him into the Cap 240 lineups, and he's done okay for me. But I thought that he'd done a lot better for me than he did. So I looked at those scores and I decided to sell him because I wanted to pick up, as I said, some more players, right? And then this is where it all started. So I've got half an ETH in there. I've got 0.09, and then I had a little bit in the account as well, just from hitting some thresholds. So this is where it gets going. I bought Insigne. All right, now it's a bit of a risk. I know that, and I don't know whether I've spoken about this before. I think I spoke about it on stream, but it is a risk. But if he can get to these dark green scores, I mean, since he's been at Toronto, it hasn't been smooth sailing. Obviously, they've not had a good time of last season. But these scores over here, these dark greens, if he can start hitting those again, get his fitness, make sure that he's playing week in and week out. I do have a funny feeling that Toronto are going to be better this season. I mean, they can't really get much worse, can they? But if they get him firing, Osario's now the captain. If he can stay fit all season as well, I think that Insigne could be a really, really dangerous forward in the America region. I say America region, it's more challengers now, isn't it? But in the MLS. Now, from an AA standpoint, I mean, his last game there, 31 AA, a 29 AA. And I always love a forward that can get good AA scores before they even put the decisives on top. Now, he takes most of their set pieces as well. And I thought it's worth the risk. I've got him in level 16 as well. So I've got some decent XP on him, decent percentage on him. And he was the first one that come in. Now, who was next? Well, it was his partner in crime, so to speak, and I'm not talking about Bernadetsky. I'm talking about Osario, the new captain of the club. These three players here and this tiny little bit of ETH that I sent, I won this guy who I'm not going to use. Stuani come in and done an all right job for me, actually. Secured me a couple of thresholds. But obviously, he's plummeted in price now, probably retiring at the end of the season. And then Lewis Martins as well, he hasn't been great. So for the price of these three and a little bit of ETH for an Osario, who's the captain of the club, who's going to hopefully be playing week in and week out, I think that it's actually a good pickup to pair with my Insigne. So in comes another midfielder. The next one is Kai Wagner, basically the best defender in the MLS in terms of Sorare scoring, one of the best defender in the old America region, and I think he's going to still be one of the best defenders in Challengers as well when we move to the new format. I mean, already this season, I say this season, they've only played one game, but he's already popped up with an assist and some decent AA as well. And if we look at these scores, even if I just go to all, now, yes, all Philly, he's capable of hundreds like it's nothing. You know, he takes all of their sets, as I said, apart from penalties, but he's just in and around it. And we know that Philadelphia have got a good back line. Now, the thing that crossed my mind here is, again, another thing that I like to do and that many people like to do is to stack a defender with a goalkeeper. But I actually looked at the correlation between him and Blake. Now, when Wagner, where am I? When I can't remember whether I've done it for the last year or so, but when Wagner hit these scores here, these 93s, 95s, 100s, 97s, etc., these big ones, what you're expecting, oh, maybe he had the 10 points on top for having a clean sheet. And then I compared that to who was playing in goal. And I think 3 or 4 times it actually wasn't Blake. Maybe he would have had a clean sheet anyway, yeah, granted. But some of these scores, like this 1-1 here where he scored 100, this 1-1 here where he scored an 80. Now, I think, all right, Blake got a 52, but he still didn't get that clean sheet. Even in this one against Columbus, he probably had a lot to do. Yeah, all right, he got the 66. I'm probably not proving my point here. But this one here, did he play in goal? This 4-1? He did, only a 46. Whereas, you know, he picked up 3 assists, Kai Wagner. So I did go back a little bit further and I went through all of these. And for the price that Blake is at the moment, I just didn't think it made sense. I could pick up, which I'll come on to in a minute, 2 goalkeepers for the price of Blake, 2 very, very solid goalkeepers as well, and have that rotation, have the option to play the home game. So, yeah, Kai Wagner is in, but, you know, spoiler, Blake is not the next one on this list for sure. The next one is the old trusty faithful is Steve Clark. Again, sold his super rare to basically pay for most of the players that I'm cards that I'm getting in, and I had him for the majority of last season. But I wanted to get him back in because I think he's got another season at Houston as their number one. And if we look in the last year, which should be the whole MLS season, I think. And if we look at his home form, look how many green scores are in there. Houston at home have been very, very good, and he's very capable of getting good AA as well. Let me just put away scores back in there as well. You know, just under 10 for AA. It's decent. He's already had 1 game this season in the the America's Cup or whatever they call it. But he had 10 AA there as well, still a 45. I picked one up, I believe, as well with some decent XP on it. All right, I got 6% on it, so that boosted it a little bit as well. But this is, you know, one of the goalkeepers that I was talking about in terms of Blake. If Blake was, what price was he looking at? Was I looking at him? I think it was 0.15. Steve Clark, I picked him up for, what did I pick him up for? 0.6. Is that what I sent? Yeah, that's what I sent. Just under 0.065. So, welcome, Steve Clark, back into the club for probably the 5th time or something stupid like that. And I'll come on to another goalkeeper now, which is Joe Willis. So for the same, you know, the price that I've just paid for him is basically the price that I paid for Clark, and it's still cheaper than what I would have paid for Blake. Now, people are going to turn around and say, yeah, you get what you pay for. But from the things that I've looked at, you know, I think that I've got a little bit of change in here to get somebody else in as well, a decent midfielder or something like that for 0.03, because obviously prices are falling at the moment. It just made sense to me. So Willis comes in as well. Now, there is a lot of talk around whether he's going to stay as number one. I think that he is going to stay as number one. There's probably going to be some rotation because they are in many competitions this year. So it might be in my favour to pick up Panico, the number 2 there, and just work out as to when they're actually going to be rotating or not. But last season was a little bit scrappy for Nashville, but we look at the seasons before that, and there's many greens in here. Just this patch here, this last kind of season, it wasn't great for him. He did have some DMPs last season as well, but I think one of them might be for injury, but the other one was for personal reasons. And I think a lot of people jumped on the bandwagon that he's finished and he's going to be sold or whatever, but Joe Willis is a key part to Nashville's back line, and I think that he keeps the number 1 spot for this year. So he comes in. They're good at home as well, by the way, and that's what I wanted to pick up. People that are good at home and try and play the home fixtures. So Steve Clark, very good at home. Joe Willis, very good at home. And I'll come on to another goalkeeper later on who's very good at home as well. But moving on, picked up this guy again. So I sold him for 0.16, I think it was, and I bought him back for 0.15. So made a little bit of money, but you take away the tax and things like that, whatever it may be. Maybe I could even see it on here. No, I originally bought him down here, 0.07, but with this transition from that July up until where we are now, we obviously didn't know what turn the game was gonna make. So I ended up selling him to get in a Johnny Russell super rare, basically, and that was a good deal for me at the time and and how I wanted to play the game. But you can see here that people obviously jumped on the hype, especially since good players are going to be the ones that's going to win you rewards on the most part. Picked one up which has some decent XP as well, and he's basically in the top 3 forwards in the MLS, and I think he's going to be in the top 10 forwards for challengers as well. Takes their set pieces. Since he's been at Columbus, he's been amazing, so welcome back into the club as well. Next one is Joseph Pancil, and as we know, this is a big transfer for LA Galaxy. He's coming in as the DP and is their new big signing. So I'll just take a sip of coffee there. And I'm probably going to try and pick up a midfielder, maybe a Ricky Puig or a Brugman as well, to go along with him, because I do think that he's going to be very, very good in the MLS. He's a forward that does have AA game. He started taking corners when Trezor left Genk, so he's capable of doing that as well. Now, I think that Ricky Puig probably carries on taking set pieces, but what I'm saying is that there's a chance that he can get involved with them, which we all know means better AA and a chance of decisives as well. But the run isn't too bad. I expect him to be on the bench against Inter Miami, maybe come on for like 10 minutes or so. A couple of away games. St. Louis would be decent. Sounders in there, LA in there, but Sporting KC could be a good fixture. Nashville could be a good fixture depending on whether they get their defenders back in time. But I like their run. I think the LA Galaxy are going to be some underdogs this season because they've made some really good signings, actually. The right back, Yamani, if I've said that right, is coming in. We've got, let me flip back there, it was trigger happy. They've brought in John McCarthy as well as a goalkeeper. Now, Jonathan Bond has actually been released, so he'll be disappearing from there. But a new goalkeeper, a new right back who's going to be pretty solid, I believe. Probably not score how he did before. Brugman should be back from injury. You've got Ricky Puig in there. You've got Pancil in there. And I think that they've got a new left winger as well, but I don't know who that one is in here. But yeah, I think they're going to be underdogs. It might be a good little stack that I might pick up when the new cards actually drop. But Joseph Pancil comes in. Moving on, Jordi Alba comes in as well. I think that he's going to have a really good season, very similar to Kai Wagner, not in terms of set pieces and stuff, but playing in a good side now, obviously with the GOAT in there. You've got Suarez in there, you've got Busquets in there. They're strengthening that back line as well. The new young kid that they've got playing centre-back looks very, very decent. But I think we're going to see a lot of green scores from Jordi Alba this season. So I picked him up for, what did I pay? 0.04, which I think's fair. I think it's fair at the moment. I think he's going to be one of the best defenders in the MLS this season. He's going to be flying forward. He's going to be getting many decisives, in my opinion. So he comes in as well. Next one. Now we move away from the MLS because we are picking up Rafa Silva, who plays for Benfica. So still in that challengers group, because obviously the Portuguese league falls into that. We've got Rafa Silva coming in here. Now, there is some risk on him. I get it. His contract expires at the end of the season. There has been some links to Saudi as well. But when he's scoring these green scores, and Benfica are a team that should be dominating that league alongside Porto and alongside Sporting, and we look at his run here, there's some really, really good fixtures between now and the end of the season. And I think, did they win last night? I forget. I think they did. Where am I going? Scores. Jesus. So they are through now as well into the next round of Europe. So I get some more utility out of him there. And who knows where he's going to end up. I just think it's worth it because he does get very, very good AA in a dominating side. And then well, I'll move on to the goalkeepers, but I'll pick up some more Benfica players, basically. This is the other goalkeeper that I picked up, Stefan Fryer. So there was obviously rumours that he was going to be retiring at the end of the season. Now, that is not the case. He has signed another 2-year deal, so I expect him to be number one for at least another 2 years and then retire, or at least another season and a half, and depending on who Seattle get in. But again, a really solid goalkeeper. So for the price that I've paid for Clark, Fry and Willis, I've probably paid an extra 0.04 and like on top of what I would have paid for Blake. So I'm getting 3 goalkeepers or 2.5 goalkeepers, whatever way you look at it. And I think that's much better. Again, these are mostly home fixtures. Look at the green scores there. Yeah, Seattle obviously very strong. They've signed some good centre backs as well, or centre back for cover for Yeimar and Reagan and things like that. So I think they're going to have another really good season. João Paulo's back for the full season, hopefully. You know, so yeah, I'm happy that Stefan Fryer comes in. And actually, I bought this from a guy who watches the content. So big shout out to you, because that was a good price. I mean, who knows if it's going to be a good price in like 2 weeks' time, right? But I feel as though that was a good price at the moment, one of the cheapest that he's been in quite a long time. So hopefully Stefan Fryer can do some bits for the gallery again, because I have picked him up probably again like Clark for the 3rd or 4th time. Now, moving on, I've done this deal. I picked up Angel Di Maria. Now, people might be looking at him thinking, well, his contract runs out at the end of the season. Where's he going to be going? He's 36. I think he continues to play, whether it's at Benfica or somewhere else. I think I'll get another season out of him. It's likely for me that he goes MLS or back to the America regions. He could go out to Saudi for a year and obviously clean up, but I've got a feeling he might be out in the MLS for a season. And if he does that, yeah, that'd be a great move for him. Again, we look at Benfica. Let's take away his subs and his DMPs. Very green scores there. Takes all of their set pieces as well. So to pair him as the midfielder card along with Rafa as the forward card, I think that is, especially for these type of fixtures in here, I think that they could do some absolute damage. And again, I'm looking from a challenger's point of view, right? I want to be putting 3 really strong lineups week in and week out into that challengers multi-lineup kind of new competition that's going to be coming out. Now, even if I was to put back in, because I know that some people don't really like doing this, right? If I was to put back in his DMPs and his bench appearances, there's not many in there. He almost plays 90 minutes, week in and week out when he plays for Benfica. He just went for a little patch here. I think that he was injured here and he was coming back. But it plays week in and week out at the age of 36 for a dominating team in that league. I'm happy to bring him in for a half a season and pair him with Rafa and see what we can get done. Now, the deal that I done was Martin Boyle. I think he only played for the club like once. What a signing this was, by the way, for me. Come in, won me 2 cards, 71 and the 79. Got me 2 thresholds as well. Superb signing for 0.01. I think I sold him for 0.01 as well. But big shout out to him. If he leaves 20 at the end of the season, which I do think that he's gonna do, if he goes back to or goes to a Sparta or someone like that, I do think that he's going to be a really good forward next year. The other one that went was Christian Burgers as well, because I sold the goalkeeper and he's disappointed me since I picked him up. I thought he would be a bit better. But he's just coming back into a touch more form. But all of these yellows is something that you can't really afford to have unless you're playing those cap modes when you're going into these challenges, or you're putting a lineup that's going to eventually be like a Div 4 team or something like that, and you're hoping that they pop. That's not really my strategy. I want the best players that I can possibly get and to get the strongest lineups out there that I possibly can get. Shanot's gone as well. I'm not going to be playing contenders. And I've mentioned all 4 of them and a little bit of ETH as well. So if we look at them, I mean, the cash and averages outweigh each other, because I've picked up the midfielder card, but welcome Di Maria. Then we move on. I pick up another Benfica piece. Now, I picked this up last night or early hours this morning. Otamendi comes in as well. And I didn't realise that Otamendi actually signed a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal when he signed it. So he's got a contract up until the end of next season. I don't see him slowing down. Look at these scores. Again, let me just filter this by Benfica. There's so many dark greens in there. His AA is ridiculous. He's capable of decisives like it's nothing. And he also still plays as centre-back for Argentina as well. So utility when it comes to, if I scroll over, the Copa America, obviously. The World Cup qualifiers as well. And I think whenever the Olympics is going to be, is it this year? It is this year. I think that Argentina play there as well. So you give him good utility there. So him, Di Maria, and Rafa would make a really, really nice stack. So that's where I am with my current gallery, right? So let me show you. We've got I won Partey, by the way, so I'm going to be selling him. But when I look at all of these players, they're all really, really strong for me now. So I feel as though I'm getting my gallery back to where I was a couple of, probably 6-7 months ago when I had the likes of Griezmann, and I've still got Carlos Hill, but I just had really strong players. And I am getting back there now. These are all for sale, by the way. So if anybody wants some of these super rares, reach out to me. If you're playing contenders or you're playing, contenders for Joe Newell as well. I think that's a really, really good card. And I'm not trying to hype him up. I'd honestly keep him if he was a challenger super rare and I was going to play super rare. I would keep him. We've got a goalkeeper in there as well. If people want to be playing cap modes between now and the end of the year. But yeah, I'm not going to be, I'm not selling them to you on this video while I'm trying to, but you know what I mean. Take a look at my gallery. But even coming down here, got Hector Herrera to come back, got Carlos Hill in there. Unastal stays. Teddy Tuma's up for sale as well, but I wouldn't mind keeping him. It's a shame that he is in the Champions division, otherwise I would keep him. But what does all of that mean for this week? Because it's going to be a big week for me, one of the biggest game weeks that I've had in a long, long time, with the MLS obviously coming back. This is what my teams look like. So in here, you're probably thinking, well, where's Di Maria? Because you've just banged on about Benfica stacks. Now, Di Maria is a little bit of a risk, and I don't want to waste these AAA fixtures if he's not going to play, or he's only going to play kind of half an hour, because they've got some really key important games coming up in the next couple of game weeks. I think they've got a midweek against, is it Porting or Sporting, someone like that. So they might rest him, considering that they played last night. So Teddy Tuma starts a AA fixture. We've got the Robin Proper and Unastal as a backline, as a stack. And then we've got Otamendi with the captain's armband, just because he's capable of everything. And Rafa in there as well. So an 81 score. I'm looking forward to that lineup. That is my All-Star Rare lineup. I've got All-Star Rare Plus, and this is where the risk comes in, because Machida is only 70% on Play Sharper, and Di Maria, having both played last night. We've got Mertens coming in there with captain's armband. We've got Willis at home against New York Red Bulls. Now, they are a little bit light in terms of defence. I don't think Lovitz and Zimmerman are playing, or at least they're a doubt. So that could be a tough one, but I'm playing the home fixture. And then we've got Joe Newell coming in there as well, with a home fixture against, who is that? Is that Dundee? I don't know Scottish badges. I'm terrible with it. So if these guys play, it's an all right lineup, and we'll see how we get on. But the bigger lineup that I've got is the Champion America Rare. And when we look at there, we've got some AAAs in there. We've got Kai Wagner in there at home against the Chicago. They're all at home by POV, who, in my opinion, is a little bit fixture proof. He does a little bit worse when he's away from home, but they've got a really tough matchup. I expect him to be really, really busy, and he's got great delivery as well. We've got Steve Clark at home against Sporting Kansas City, so I think that's going to be a tough game, but again, I'm playing the home fixture. Carlos Hill with the really, really good XP, the AAA fixture, and Diego Rossi coming in and wearing that captain's armband. So an 81 score there. It's a very strong lineup. I'm expecting a card reward out of this lineup, and hopefully I can push for a top 10 finish in there as well. Then we've got Champion America Plus Rare. What? Champion America Plus Rare. That's a bit weird. But we've got Gressel and Lennon as our super rares. I'm not expecting anything from this team. These are just some of the guys that I've got back. They're all away fixtures. I'm hoping they all start. I hope Insigne starts. He didn't play the last game or the last 2 games of pre-season, but apparently they were just wrapping him up in cotton wool. But we've got the Toronto boys in there. We've got Seattle goalkeeper. We've got a really tough game there, Atlanta against Columbus. And then we've got Gressel coming in against LA as well, another away fixture. And he didn't have the best game in midweek as well, so who knows if he's going to even play. The remaining lineup that I've got in there is the Cat 240 Super Rare. And again, I'm not expecting anything off this. I'm just going to go for the low one this time. If I would have selected the low one last time, I would have actually got it, but I decided to go for a 400, and I was really, really close. It's just Machida had a really shit game. But there we go. I'm not expecting that either. And then the only other thing that I've got in there is this Cap 240, which is not a full squad, but Schmidt should be starting as a forward, but he's actually playing as left back. You got Brennett in there with a good fixture, but his form has been really poor. But then you've got Jordi Alba. So the thing that I could do here, you can see it now. The thing that I could do here is put Jordi Alba in for Di Maria if I'm really worried about that. But I think there's more risk and there's risk and reward there in that lineup. The other thing that I could do is put Alba in for POV because of the fixture, not because of what he's capable of, but just because of the fixture. But I think LA Galaxy are gonna. I don't know. I think that's going to be a really interesting game considering that Inter Miami played midweek. Is Messi going to start? Is Suarez going to be playing 90 minutes? I don't know. So he might come in there. He could even come in here and break up this stack between Osorio and Insigne and just come in there because I've already got the midfielder in Gressel. So I don't know yet. I don't like leaving him out, but I'm glad that I've got this this problem because this is what it's about. It's about having that depth and making those decisions and trying to get the best lineups in there that you possibly can. So Jordi Alba misses out, Brennett misses out. We've got Hector Herrera, which would have been beautiful in this lineup. If I would have took POV out and put Hector Herrera in there at home as well, that would have been a stunning lineup, in my opinion. But yeah, it's going to be a few weeks since he's back, until he's back. So there we are. I'm not finished yet, by the way. I do have I'm trying to make some other trades. I want to get rid of some of those super rares, bring in a couple of more rares as well so that we're ready for March 29th. But in the meantime, I want to be competing. I want to be winning as much as I possibly can. I'm back in terms of getting some really good and strong lineups out there and looking forward to the weekend. But yeah, leave a comment down below. How are you adjusting to obviously the changes and the roadmap and things like that? What are you doing? Are you moving from one scarcity into the other? Are you looking to kind of shrink down and strengthen? Are you looking to collect? What are you looking to do? What do you think about my moves as well? If you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to see some more, hit the subscribe button. And as always, I'll see you in the future.